for our regular listeners. Rick's back. Rick Kearney, our certified diagnostic master technician. He escaped for 1 week and got away and had a real nice vacation.
You put us in panic mode.
Yeah, exactly.
We did okay.
Yeah. But anyway, we're so glad to have him back, and I'll talk about now we can honestly answer questions about fairly technical stuff on cars. We were cheating last week with Google, and then we had a stand-in off-site for Rick, and then we had to text and go back and forth. A little awkward. So this week, with Rick live and in color, sitting to my right here, he can answer virtually everything. I got to throw a virtually in there because sometimes we have to do a little research on questions. But cars are so complicated today that I'm so glad that he'll be able to answer your questions. The problem with the cars today, the good news and the bad news, is that they're so high-tech and there have been so many improvements. That's the good news. The bad news is they're so hard to understand. And if you're like me, and here I've been in the car business over a half a century, when I get in my car, there's still about 25 or 30% of the buttons that I don't know what they do. And I don't get the full use out of my vehicle. And I'm probably not getting the use of something that could be serious, like safety. So if you have any questions like that, just give us a call to 877-960-9960. That's 877-960-9960. Or text us at 772-497-6530. That text number again is 772-497-6530. Now, for the new folks that just tuned us in accidentally, maybe, True Oldies Station doesn't tell you what we do here. True Oldies is a great 60s, 70s, I think some 50s too, music. I love it because I was born in 1940.
I hate to break it to you, 80s are considered oldies now.
Yeah, that's terrible. So anyway, if you're looking for music, you're not going to get it here. Although I'll sing a little ditty to you if you insist, but I'm only kidding. What this show is all about is how to help you avoid being ripped off by a car dealer. That's kind of like the vernacular. I could say avoid being taken advantage of. But that's why we're here. And we'll help you any way we can. If you're in the process of buying or leasing a car, call the show. And we'll give you some tips, some advice. If you've already bought a car and you want to know how to have it maintained or repaired properly and safely and honestly, we can help you there. We love your anecdotes. We love your experiences, your daily experiences out there in the wild, wild west of buying cars. And that's what it's like buying a car in South Florida, or for that matter, just about any state. Florida is really the wild, wild west. We got a lot of laws. Actually, we don't. We have a few laws, and the laws that we have are not enforced, and that's very sad. Mystery Shopping Report. Stu Stewart is in charge of that, and he is our master spy. He sends the volunteers out into the cold to pretend to buy or lease a car, and we usually respond to an advertisement. Sometimes we find a car. In fact, we usually find too many cars out there with dangerous recalls, and we buy those, on paper, pretend to buy, and see how much disclosure we get. And we name names, and we name dealerships, and we post the shopping report on my blog, earloncars.com. So if you want to read any shopping report we've done for the past many years, you'll probably find your dealer if you live in the South Florida area. And we shop just about everybody, the little guys, the big guys, and we shop multiple times. We typically go back if we get a good report to see if they're still being good, or vice versa. So that's kind of what this show is all about. We're also streaming. That's important because we're evolving here. It used to be a radio show. Been doing this for 17 years. I can't believe it. Just me and Nancy. Half an hour show. This radio station was owned by a different group of folks. It was called Seaview Radio back then. And Nancy and I were on for half an hour, and it's evolved to an hour. And here we are, 2 hours. Hey, maybe we go to 3 hours. I don't know.
Well,
we thought about that.
It feels like as if we're in a suite
compared
to where we were.
Yeah.
As long as we went to 11 instead of starting at 7. We can add an hour, but it's on the backside.
I'd love to have a guest person come on, a consumer advocate type of person. Rosemary Shahan in California. Rosemary, if you're listening, she is one of the most amazing pro-consumer car buying consumer advocates there is. Rosemary Shahan. Google that and see what she's done. Her company is CARS, that's the acronym, CARS. Maybe Stu will Google that because I can never remember. It starts out with consumers.
Consumer action.
Something.
I don't know.
But anyway, she invented the lemon law. Can you believe that? Lemon law, that's part of our parlance now. If you buy a new car and it's a lemon, it's a dog, it's a bow wow, and you really want to get some help from somebody, all the states now have lemon laws that allow you to do that. All of them are a little different. Well, Rosemary Shahan wrote the first lemon law in California probably, 30, 40 years ago.
Proud to know her.
Yeah.
For sure.
And she's amazing.
Excuse me for a moment. Tina will be right with you.
Well, let's not wait for Tina. Let's talk to Tina, our very, very best caller. Thank you, Tina.
That's right. Good morning, Tina.
Hi, how are y'all doing this morning?
Great.
Hey, Tina.
Hi, how are you? Welcome back from vacation. I hope you enjoyed.
Thank you, Tina. It's good to be back.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks. This time of year, a lot of people are traveling. They're going up north to see family, or some family are traveling down here. And, of course, part of traveling includes not just your airplane flight, but includes renting a car. And we talk all the time about buying a vehicle and how you have to watch for a lot of pitfalls. But apparently these car rental companies have come up with all kinds of crazy fees, and they almost make car dealers look honest by comparison.
Yeah.
So I wonder if we can talk a little bit about watching for pitfalls when you're, I know I'm using that word again, but watching for pitfalls when renting a car.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Don't get the insurance.
I think that the rental companies invented the hidden fee. Maybe the car dealers copied them, but it's interesting. I happen to own a rental company, and so I'm aware of what the competition is doing. And they lose money on the advertised rate of the car, kind of like car dealers. Car dealers cannot sell you a car for what they advertise the car for, and they trick you into paying more. Rental companies do the same thing. Car rental, whether it's Hertz, Avis, Enterprise, they all do the same thing. And they have the extras. About the only difference between the rental companies and the car dealers is rental companies will sell you the extras or try to. And I'm not so sure they always do. I'm sure there are car dealer or rental companies out there that sneak the hidden fees in just like car dealers do. But you probably, for example, are covered in your rental car by your current insurance in your regular car, or even your homeowner's insurance. Most of the insurance companies will have a clause in there that protects you when you rent a car. But what the rental car companies do is they sell you more insurance that you don't need. And they also will gaff you on the gasoline. And they can charge you anything per gallon if they want to. If it's in the fine print, then it's legal. And you're supposed to bring the rental car back with a full tank of gas. So if you bring it back at a half a tank, they'll charge you for the full price that you wouldn't have to pay. You could buy it for 50 cents a gallon less if you did it before you brought it in. And it's little tricks like that you have to watch out for, Tina. I think, did I sum it up okay for you?
Yes, and another thing that you have to watch out for is, like, if you're going to a foreign country and decide to rent a car there, they can slap you with thousands of dollars worth of fees. It could be an absolute nightmare.
Yeah.
So if you decide to go to a foreign country and you want to rent a car, make sure before the car even leaves the parking lot, you take photos of the car inside and out, take photos of the odometer. That way they can't try to pull tricks on you afterwards. And one of the most notorious car rental companies that you should really think twice about is a company called Sixt, S-I-X-T. Stay away from that company. They have had more public relations nightmares than any other car company I can
What is that again, Tina? Spell that one more time.
S-I-X-T.
Oh, I haven't heard of them.
They usually
Never heard
rent,
of
yeah, they usually rent like luxury vehicles, but you might want to think twice before renting from them.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, my brother is can't ever return to Italy for a car rental fiasco there. I think he knocked off a side window in one of those narrow alleyways. And I think he got a ticket,
Ooh.
and so he's on the watch list.
Wasn't that funny? I can't return. I can't return either because I wrecked a motor scooter in Italy.
It runs in the family.
Yeah, and I can't return to Jamaica because I wrecked a car in Jamaica. That's one of the things is a left-hand drive. I know that's not what you called about, Tina, but you know, I don't ever rent a car when there's left-hand drive. I mean, I'm so used to driving on the right, I just can't feel safe.
I took the bus from Jamaica.
Well, Tina, thank you. That's a good angle on rip-offs. We
Something
talked
else,
about car dealers. I've never
don't
done.
buy their gas either. Don't buy their insurance. Don't buy their gas,
no.
and don't rent at the airport. That's another good piece of advice.
Tons of scams out there, Tina,
Yes.
when it comes to renting. We love hearing from you, and we love you being part of the show every week. So we all want to thank you, and have a great weekend.
Thank you. And thank you. Ladies, Nancy and I can't do this by ourselves. We need you. Please call.
Thanks, Tina.
Thank you very
I
much.
think you just opened the door, Tina.
Yeah,
Have a great weekend. Hey, Gina from Texas. Good morning.
Hello.
Good morning, Gina. Welcome.
How are you?
We're doing
Thank
great.
you.
What's on your mind? What part of Texas are you from, Tina?
Close to Lubbock.
Lubbock.
Is that right?
Nice.
Interesting.
Do we know a dealer in Lubbock?
No, I know a dealer in Amarillo and Baytown, just outside of Houston.
Oh, okay.
I got some relatives out there in Texas, out in Austin, and just Dallas, all over the place. Are you a first-time caller, Gina?
Yes, I am.
Congratulations. You just won yourself $50. And if you'll text me,
Really?
yes, I'll give you the text number where you can send me your contact information so that I can get that $50 out to you. 772 497 6530.
Okay. Thank you.
Did you
You're
get that down? Give it. Read that again, so be sure we get it down right.
You want to read it back to me?
I'm going to let you give it to me again.
772 497 6530.
Okay, Tina. What's on your mind? Do you have any questions about buying a car in Texas? Or I guess they have dealer fees in Texas like they do all over. We call them hidden fees now. But have you had a good or bad experience out there that you'd like to share, or maybe just ask us a question?
I have a question. I'm having it's not a little car, it's a motorhome,
Okay, motorhome.
and I checked the oil on it, and it's got a plastic tip on the end of the oil stick, and it looks like it's broke off. And if it's broke off inside, should I try to get some to clean it out, or is it going to hurt anything?
If it's just a plastic tip, I wouldn't worry about it too much. At the next oil change, when you bring it in for a service, because you said it's a good-sized motorhome?
Yeah, it's pretty good size. It's not a huge one, but I noticed that it broke off, and I don't know when. And I'm worried that it is inside for sure.
Rick, what would it cost her to
So-
fix it that she wanted to get it out that was worrying her? What would be the procedure and approximate cost for her?
The cost would be hard to say without knowing the exact model and how it's designed, because
Sure.
they would have to lower the oil pan.
Right?
But there's a very good chance a lot of those bigger vehicles like that use a larger drain plug. So there's a good chance that when they change the oil, if the mechanic knows that piece is in there, he might be able to use a little pick and just kind of fish around in there and maybe actually get it to come out through the drain hole.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you might be able to get that taken care of for almost nothing, very low cost, if anything. But the main thing is you want to make sure you just replace that dipstick, get a new one in there so that you can get an accurate idea of how much oil you have in the vehicle.
I'm really surprised that they would do that. What make motorhome is it, Tina?
Gina?
It's a 2000. Yeah, it's J. 2004.
And the manufacturer, is it a Winnebago or what
It's a
type?
Fleetwood.
A Fleetwood.
Okay.
Fleetwood. I
Yeah.
think I'll probably have to call a place that has wrecked ones maybe and get a new dipstick from them.
Well, that'd be great if you could find that. You could Google it, do a search, and you might find a used dipstick. I mean, they have everything else used online, and that'd be a way to save a lot of money.
Yeah, I would check out one of the sites that I like to look at for aftermarket parts that are relatively inexpensive is Rock Auto.
Oh, yeah.
It's ROCKAUTO.com. And it's amazing the variety of parts that they have available that are way less expensive than dealerships. And a dipstick should be a very inexpensive item, even if you had to get it from a dealership, from a motorhome place, a supply store. That should be a relatively inexpensive item, like less than $20.
Oh, okay, that's great. Yeah, that's a great Rock Auto. Write that down, everybody listening. ROCKAuto.com that Rick just reminded us of, one of the great sources of auto parts, truck parts, RV parts, and they're huge. They are absolutely huge, and they have virtually everything. The prices are great. RockAuto.com. Well, Tina, thanks very much for the call.
Hey, Gina, this is Nancy.
I just don't.
I'm going to repeat that number again, 772-497-6530. Your contact information you can send to me at that text number, and I'll send you the 50.
That'll buy you 2
I'm
dipsticks.
sitting here in the dark, so I think I've got it wrote down right.
Okay, not only did we answer your question, but we're paying for your dipstick. How about that?
Can't go.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
I don't want to worry about it tearing something up if with it running and that old plastic piece being in there.
I understand.
Well, that plastic piece will fall to the bottom of the oil pan, so it's highly unlikely that that's going to cause any damage at all anyways. It'll just sit down in the bottom of the oil pan.
It's highly unlikely that it bothers her, just like it bothers me.
Yeah.
Like when the doctor says, it's highly unlikely that what you have there is going to kill you. That makes me feel a little better, but
Heard that before.
I'd like to have a positively not going to kill you instead of highly unlikely.
True.
Tina, thank you very much. That was a great call. And
Give us a call again, Gina.
please do. Yeah, and spread the word in Texas. We'd love to have more Texans call. We love Texans.
I'll spread you all over the
Oh, thank you.
States. How's that?
Love that accent.
Okay, thank you.
Have a great weekend.
Bye-bye.
Hey, Rick, there was a day whenever I went to the junkyard and I got parts for my car. Are there still junkyards out there?
Yes, there are, and still the old pick and pull yards where you go there with your tools, take whatever parts you want off the car, you go up front and you pay for it, and away you go.
Yeah, and the mafia uses that. They put bodies in cars and then they crush them, and then that's where Jimmy Hoffa is, at a junkyard.
Yeah, I heard they crushed him and made him into hubcaps.
Yes.
Yep.
There you go.
He became Jimmy Hubcaps.
At any rate, that was the good old days, and I used to have a whole lot of fun. Hey, kids, come on. Mom's going over to the junkyard. Got to get some parts for my car. 877-960-9960, or you can text us at 772-497-6530. And don't forget, take advantage of youranonymousfeedback.com. Youranonymousfeedback.com. Say whatever you want, and you remain anonymous.
Nancy and I were talking in the car on the way to the show, and we were talking about, gosh, we sure would like to have a car salesman or a car dealer call the show. And I said, well, they wouldn't want to be identified, and they might recognize their voice. This is perfect for youranonymousfeedback.com. And we'd love to have somebody out there. Nancy says, I'd just like to hear a car salesman justify, rationalize the way they sell cars.
Yeah, this is how we do what we do.
How they know, that
That'd be
the
the name of
car
the
they
segment.
advertise cannot be bought for the price, and then explain it. And you can do it on youranonymousfeedback.com. We will read it and we will comment on it, but you can get it off your chest. And if you're afraid, we'd make fun of you, you're afraid you get in trouble with your employer, anonymousfeedback.com. We probably got a bunch of them cropped up over there, don't we, Stu?
We have a few.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we're on a roll this morning with the ladies. We're going to go to Santa Cruz, California.
Wow.
And we're going to talk to Gail. Good morning, Gail.
Love Santa Cruz.
Good morning.
Are you a first-time caller, Gail?
I am a first-time caller.
You
What?
just won yourself $50.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, you're kidding! But I do have a question though.
Oh, that's
I do have a
perfect.
question.
That's perfectly acceptable. I can give you the text number, Gail, for you
Okay,
to send me your
okay.
contact information.
Do you have a pencil handy?
Hold on.
Okay.
Hold on. Yes, I do. But let me get my eyeballs. I've got to go.
Okay.
Take your time.
Very exciting. California, Texas.
Yeah, we can announce it. We can get to the questions and let you know she's
Yeah,
listening.
yeah,
so.
you can take your time with the pen, tablet, and ask your question, because, like I said, we're on a roll, and we have another female caller waiting.
Get out
So
of here.
what can we do for you this morning,
I
Gail?
don't believe it.
I have a 2002 Jeep, sports Jeep. Oh gosh, my daughter just gave it to me. Anyway, so it's fine, but my bottom taillights, it has double taillights, and the bottom ones are out. I didn't even realize it until my girlfriend told me. Anyway, I went and got light bulbs. She tried to help me change the light bulbs, and it's still not working. So now my next thing is it something electrical in the lights, the tail lights, or is it a fuse? Does that make sense?
Boy, am I glad Rick's back. What do you think, Rick?
If both sides are out, the first thing I'd be doing is have find a good technician that can check it properly, and just make sure that you're getting a power and ground to it. But on older vehicles like that, especially Jeeps, where somebody might have been kind of off-roading a little bit, if the ground wires have started getting corroded or a little bit of dirt or something has gotten in and messed up that connection, that can cause those lights to go out very easily.
Okay. Thank you.
And one more piece of advice: when you're doing that, be sure you get the price up front as to what they estimate it's going to cost you. They can't always tell you exactly because, as Rick said, it's more of a diagnosis. But have the price conversation before you turn them loose on your Jeep, and try to find a service here, a department with a good reputation. You don't want to spend a whole lot of money on a 2002 Jeep, and those diagnostic time can mount up before you know it.
Yeah, one other thing I'd recommend, as silly as this sounds, go on the internet to the forum sites for Jeep owners.
Good idea.
And I guarantee you there's somebody in your area that will, if they haven't already experienced this problem and can clue you to where to look for it, they will be able to point you towards a mechanic, either a dealership mechanic or an aftermarket mechanic, an outside mechanic, that they trust wholeheartedly, because the Jeep community, they're some incredible people, and they will find mechanics that they will trust, and they'll make sure to take care of you.
Oh, great suggestion. Thanks, Rick. Thanks, Rick.
Okay, great. Thank you. You know what? My son-in-law, because my daughter gave me the car, my son-in-law had mentioned to me they have that car for quite a few years.
Wow.
But they live far from me. They live in Tiburon, California. And he said, if anything goes wrong, let me know. We will find a Jeep specialist down here in Santa Cruz. Because, see, that car was taken care of like it was a brand new car. But they went to someone that specialized in Jeeps. So you're reconfirming what my son-in-law told me. Because he said he would find somebody down here in Santa Cruz for me. Yeah.
Well, spread the word in Santa Cruz.
Else.
Tell all the folks out there in California to give us a call. We really appreciate you calling the show from so far away. What time is it in Santa Cruz?
It is 5:25. I'm up because I have to go to work. I have a new schedule, and I start working on Saturday.
I
so
see.
I'm up getting ready to go to work.
Wow.
So
Thanks for
5:25 a.m.
Thanks for taking the time to join us with your busy
You're
schedule.
welcome.
I'll give you that text number if you'd like. You can send me your
Yes,
contact number.
Yes, I have. Go ahead.
772
772
497
497
6530.
6530. Great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Happy holidays.
Great holiday.
Spread the word, Gail.
Thank you. Okay.
Give,
Bye-bye.
give us a call toll free, 877-960-9960. And remember, we have a mystery shopping report. It's always a doozy. And don't forget to read one of Earl's columns that I have in front of me, and that's an open letter to Governor Ron DeSantis, Speaker Jose Olivia, President Bill Galvano, and Attorney General Ashley Moody. And the subject, Enforce Florida Statute 501976.
Very controversial column. In fact, so controversial that Hometown News didn't want to run it. And after we talked to them, they agreed to run it in the op-ed section of their newspaper, Hometown News. And even more so exciting, this particular article, they are going to contact the individuals to whom I wrote the letter, Governor DeSantis and the others, and they're going to ask them to comment on this letter, which they felt was too controversial to run in the regular part of the paper. It basically says we've got some laws on the books that should be enforced, and they're not being enforced. So the open letter was sent to the President of the Senate and the Speaker of the House, the Governor, and, of course, the Attorney General, Ashley Moody. Ashley Moody is the one that really should be talking about enforcing these laws. But the legislators also ought to wonder, they make a law, they should think that it should be enforced. So it's a good question, and it'll be interesting. Next week we'll let you know who responded to Hometown News to comment about my column, and we'll see what happens. It'll run in Florida Weekly the following week, this week in the Hometown News, and of course you can read it right now online at earloncars.com.
Yeah, very interesting. We're going to go to Karen, who's been holding from West Palm Beach, and John will be right with you. Good morning, Karen.
Good morning.
Welcome.
How are you?
We're
Well,
doing
thank
fine.
you.
What's on your mind, Karen?
Okay, so I have a 2017 Lincoln MKC that I bought coming off of a lease.
Mm-hmm.
About 2 months after I had it while driving on I-95, all of a sudden my radio was playing, but my windows wouldn't roll down. The air conditioning shut down. It scared me half to death. So this continued for a little while. Sometimes I'd turn the car off, and then it would go back to being normal. And other times I would get in the car, and the windows, same thing, wouldn't roll down. The radio would still be on, but the air wouldn't come on. And, of course, in the Florida heat, it was really hot. So I took it into the dealer. They had it for 8 days, and, of course, they couldn't recreate the situation. So they gave the car back to me.
Oh.
So this was, approximately March of this year. So a couple months ago, coming out of work, it did it again. And, of course, they're asking me to bring it in the minute it does it, but, you're not always in a position to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And it took me 4 or 5 times shutting the car off and on and even pulling over to get the windows to roll down and get, the air cranking. Well, the other day I was back on I-95 again, and I heard this, wind blowing, and I looked and my tailgate was up.
Oh.
And I had not opened my tailgate. So I pulled over to the side of the road. I hit the automatic button to close it, and it wouldn't work. So I had to physically get out of the car and close the tailgate. So I'm really frustrated, and I don't know. I understand the workings of electronics that they do have to recreate that. But I'm kind of dismayed, and I don't know where to go from here.
Well, before Rick addresses this, and this is definitely something for Rick, you said this was an off-lease car. Did you lease the car, then exercise your option to buy it, or did you buy it from somebody else because the car had been leased to someone else?
No, I bought it at the dealership. It had just come in off of a lease.
Off of a lease. The reason I asked that, and Rick can address this, is it sounds like this might have some water problems, and if this is a flood car, there might be a record. Have you checked the Carfax report on this car to see if it's been in a flood, or had anybody examine it to see if it looks like it had been partly underwater? I'll throw the ball into Rick's court.
Well, they gave me the car. They showed me the Carfax report on the day that I bought the vehicle. The car had just come in that morning when I came in that afternoon, and it was exactly what I was looking for. So I'm not sure that they did a total, look over of the car at that time. They gave me a really good deal, and but like I said, the 8 days that they had it, they just couldn't recreate it. But I have a warranty on it up to 100,000 miles. At this point, I have 37,000 miles on it. And, I just really want to document because I don't know if the dealer can do anything. If this continues to happen, it kind of scares me, when you're going, 75, 80 miles an hour and things start shutting down.
Karen, I don't know what kind of warranty you have, but I kind of doubt it would cover things like electronics and things of this nature. 100,000 mile to cover maybe the powertrain. What do you know exactly what type of a warranty and what it covers?
I don't have it with me, Earl, right at the moment. No.
Yeah. I'm
But
doubtful. I'm
sure
sorry to say that it would cover this, but Rick, you go ahead. What do you think?
This one's a very weird one because you're definitely got some electrical gremlins going on there, and I would be very, very concerned about this because it's a safety issue right off the bat. If you've got a back hatch opening while the vehicle is traveling, that's a major safety issue, and I would be taking this vehicle back to where it was purchased. I would inform them that you will not take this vehicle back until it has been repaired and confirmed repaired. A possibility may be the vehicle's been in an accident at some case that was not reported on Carfax, or has been in a flood or something like that that's not been reported to Carfax. But this sounds like a very scary situation simply because you've got electrical gremlins going on here that could put you in a very dangerous situation.
Well, Rick, she could have somebody look at her car independently of this dealer, and a qualified individual could tell her if the car had been in a flood, I would think.
Yeah, I would definitely have it inspected outside if you can, preferably by another Ford dealership because they know what they're going to look for. And at the very minimum, I would start in contacting factory representatives and say, hey, please help me. I've got a bad situation here. And this is one of those cases where that polite persistence will pay off. Just don't take no for an answer, but just keep being nice.
What your car is?
Keep working up. She said it's a 2017.
Oh, 2017, okay.
Yeah, so with only 37,000 miles. So
yeah.
I would be talking to the factory and saying, hey, please help me, because they need to be stepping up and really making sure they find this problem, because this is safety related at this point.
Right. I got you.
Well, let us know.
Okay, well, thank you. I was advised to call into your show, and I guess it helped me, so thank you very much.
Well, keep us
Karen,
posted,
are you
Karen, and let us know how it works out. Call us next week and see if it was resolved. We hope so. If not, we can maybe give you some more help.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Give us a call toll
Yes,
free.
Thank you.
877-960-9960. Or you can text us at 772-497-6530. We're going to go straight to John, who's calling us from Palm City. Good morning, John.
John from Palm City. Hey,
Good
John.
morning.
Good morning.
Yes, I have the copy from Hometown News, and it's specifically about you mentioned in there. It's the Florida statute of 501.976 parenthesis 16.
Yes.
And I hope it reaches the right party. We know the new Attorney General is very aggressive, and let's hoping that will go, and further information to her. But what I want to ask you, and also in Hometown News and other newspapers, I usually read the legal notices. And many times in the legal notices, it's a towing company. And it's printed like 2-3 weeks ahead. And it talks about the cars with the serial number. and it specifically says no title issued. What in the world good is it for somebody to bid on a car like that and it don't get a title? It would probably be strictly for parts. Isn't there a way that those towing companies or any repair shop can put a mechanic's lien on a car and get the title? Is it so difficult if I bring my car in like a transmission place and it's a $5,000 bill and I don't pay them and it sits there for months? Aren't they entitled to get a mechanic's lien and get the full title on a car? Can you inform me more about that? I'll give you, for instance, the outfit that picks up scrap cars from dealers and body shops, which is a publicly traded corporation, which is, Earl knows who they are. They're Copart, C-O-P-A-R-T. Over 5 million cars per year are scrapped, many of them total salvage. Copart also has a website. You can buy their cars. They have 165 junkyards in the USA, 205 auction facilities, and you look them up on a computer and you can bid on them. Many of them, though, are total wrecks, but with every car you get a full title.
Yeah.
Can you tell me, Earl, how difficult it is for these so-called, well, not Copart because they have the titles, but when you see a legal notice and it says no title issue, is it so difficult in the state of Florida for a towing company or repair shop to put a mechanic's lien on a car?
Stu has an answer, I think.
Well, a tow company that you can sell a car without a title, and generally it would be just for parts. But I can't answer how difficult it is. I imagine there's a certain amount of red tape you got to go through in Florida, but you can't apply for a new title for a titleless car. You'd probably have to furnish a bill of sale. But then you got to also be really careful because you're exposing yourself. I mean, the car could be stolen. There's lots of risk with that. I think it's probably not worth the effort to get a car. They're probably pretty cheap because they don't have titles. I'd say probably most valuable, useful for parts.
Well, John, we'll get an answer for you. There's one person in my organization that can answer it. Her name is Janet Getz, and she's been in the. She probably knows more about title work than any person in the state of Florida, and that's a complex question. But we'll get you an answer. I don't have it right now, and I don't think we can even Google that. But Janet Getz will know the answer. We'll even text her now. We might be able to get an answer during the show. If we do, we'll announce it.
Okay. Well, I was just curious because basically, what the heck good is a car without a title? I wouldn't trust it.
I understand. That's a great question.
How it was picked up, or
There's got to be a way. I would say there's got to be a way to get a title, but it's probably so cumbersome and complex and time-consuming that people don't go to the trouble to do it. But usually, there's always a way to do something, except nobody knows how to do it. And you brought that to light, and now we're going to come up with an answer.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John. Give us a call toll-free at 877-960-9960. And Karen, if you're still listening, if you were a first-time caller, text me your contact information at 772-497-6530. And I want to thank all you ladies for opening the show. It was a great feeling. I'd like to feel that every Saturday. And to the ladies that are listening right now, give us a call. It's not too late. And share your information. I was talking to Earl this morning about the automotive news and how things have changed. They really have changed. You see more women in the automotive news and as general managers, and also this news recently about the Mach E, is that what it was called? That Ford will debut in 2020.
Yeah, Ford's all-electric car.
All electric, and you know that there were a third of the women who were responsible for the technology to put that whole thing together. So we're really turning a corner here for the women, and here at Earl Stewart on Cars, we are building a platform. So ladies, I'm taking a moment to thank all of you. And I know definitely that Stu is ready and willing and able.
Every Saturday morning we get here, we got a backlog of comments and questions on your anonymous feedback, and also the text line 772-497-6530. We'll start with the anonymous feedback. Earl, I went online to Google and checked out the new H. Gregg store. As of 7:30 a.m. on Sunday, they have 34 five-star reviews, in quotes. No review is specific enough for me to believe that these are real reviews. In regards to the rigorous inspection, this is done post-purchase, yes? If so, then there's a chance that a rigorous inspection could fail a car, and H. Gregg would be forced to sell that car to another used car dealer or send it to the scrapyard. Now, what are the odds that H. Gregg would do that? They get the cars, they inspect these cars themselves, which means nothing. If H. Gregg would employ a third party to inspect these cars, then you can trust that company's inspection report. Slightly related is the Motor Trend quote-unquote certification. A dealer can establish themselves as a Motor Trend certified used car dealer, but the used cars are not inspected by Motor Trend. They're just inspected by the dealer's entry-level technician. Motor Trend is a trusted name, and it is a selling tool. Motor Trend does not see the car. The so-called inspections are worthless. Self-certification is a joke and needs to be backed by a third party. Who is that third party? Your trusted mechanic. Take that used car on a test drive to your mechanic for a $120 inspection. If the dealer won't let you, then walk away.
Well, that's mostly good advice. The Motor Trend I would take exception to. Motor Trend and Car and Driver and Hot Rod and all the other car buff magazines take a lot of advertising from the manufacturers. And if you advertise heavily in Motor Trend magazine, there's a good chance that one of your cars will be the Motor Trend Car of the Year. My only source for objective, totally transparent, honest evaluation of automobiles is Consumer Reports, not Motor Trend. As far as the Google reviews, Google is the most reliable source of reviews, but you can sure fool everybody, and the hackers and the scam artists are finding a way to hack everybody. When I'm looking for a product, I usually trust a Google review. What I do is I try to ignore the 5 stars and the 1 stars and look at the 3-star reviews. Stu advised me to do that. And it's true because nobody's perfect. A 5-star doesn't make sense. And nobody's, well, I won't say nobody's terrible. There's sometimes they are a 1-star. But emotionally, people will do a 1-star. The 3-star people are not totally satisfied, but they're being objective, and they usually give you some specifics and names and so on and so forth. So Google's pretty informative. I don't know how H. Gregg got 32 Google reviews in one day, but my guess would he probably had. H. Gregg probably asked all of his employees to do it.
Well, there's a lot of companies out there that offer reputation management to car dealers.
Yeah.
And they have computer programs that will send out requests to their customers to fill out reviews. In full disclosure, we use that. But like you said, you have to read all the reviews and actually read what they're saying. I'll believe a 5-star review if I read it and it seems pretty intricate. They tell a great story of some exceptional thing that happened. That's great. But most of them, especially just stars or great service, I don't buy. But I also look at the 1-star reviews too, because you might see something that's, you got to look at them all and kind of make a decision on it. But you can't.
Amazon got in a lot of trouble recently, and Amazon's my hero. Amazon verifies the purchase of the product, and it's one of the few places you can go and really get. When I buy a product, I sort from 4 stars and up, and then I read the reviews. But it was just out in the news press. Amazon got slammed because they were phonying reviews. And if you read the reviews, you have to kind of study them. If they're too simplistic, they're kind of obvious that somebody's being paid to say, I like this company very much. And then the guy says it 6 more times.
Yeah. The other thing is to look at disparity between different review sites. You might see a guy with great Google reviews and like 1-star Yelp reviews. So just gotta make sure.
Okay.
All right, the next one. Hello, Earl and Stu. I have a question about new 2018 cars being advertised right now. I see some Kia and Mitsubishi dealerships selling and advertising new 2018 cars. Why would they keep 2018 model year new cars in the lot and not offer a deep discount a year ago to move them off the lot? Related to this question, Rick, if the 2018 new car sits on a dealer's lot for 2 years without an oil change, could that affect the reliability or warranty of the car, which happens to be 2 years old? P.S. Love the show. Specifics below, and they send a link.
Well, it probably wouldn't affect the warranty. It should, but it probably wouldn't. They'd be too embarrassed to say that the man bought the car 2018 that sat on the lot for 2 years with one of their dealers, and the dealer didn't change the oil. But it's a good. I wouldn't buy the car because you don't want to buy a car that sat for 2 years, and they obviously didn't do a very good merchandising job. And the car isn't too popular, and there may be a reason why the car didn't sell. Maybe it was ugly, or maybe it had some problems. Stay away from those kind of bargains. If you've got a 2-year-old car, there's too many other good bargains out there to even worry about buying it.
Yeah, addressing the first part of the question, it could be the model itself, but generally it's an indication of poor management at the dealership. Yeah. There's no reason 2 years later that new cars should still be there. Like you said, a car could be hidden on the back lot, nobody's paying attention to it, and that could indicate all sorts of other problems you might run to at that dealership.
And the car might have a lot of miles on it. A new car can have 20,000 miles on it. Florida law, and I guess a lot of state law, is absurd. All a new car means is it's never been titled. You can drive that car, put 300,000 miles on it, roll it over, wreck it, and scratch it, and do everything else to it. But in Florida, it's still a new car, and you can advertise it as a new car. It's absolutely stupid the way the law's written.
That is absolutely true. Next one is a question. It's a link to a Mitsubishi ad at Miami Lakes Auto Mall, and the question is this an ain'tgonnahappen.com situation? And so I won't read the whole ad, but basically it's a new 2018 Mitsubishi Eclipse. Hey, there you go, a new 2018 car right there. Yeah. MSRP 24,645, sale price 18,998. You save 5,647. Is it? I mean, it could be. Here's what's going to happen for sure. This should be is going to happen. They're going to add a lot of hidden fees to that price, so the discount's not going to be quite as good. I would guess, and I don't know for sure, on a new 2018 Mitsubishi, which, by the way, are not exactly selling like hotcakes these days. There could be a large factory rebates on those things. They could be getting help from the manufacturer.
It's probably bait and switch.
Yeah.
When a car dealer really wants to sell a Bow Wow, a real dog of a car, something that you accidentally ordered, it's got purple interior and a green exterior, and
you're going back to the 70s.
It's a stick shift, and occasionally dealers just make big mistakes, and cars get shop worn, they get dealer traded from dealer to dealer.
Lot rot.
And then we call it lot rot. It just sat there. The tires are square. So what they do with these cars sometimes is they give the salesperson what we call a flat commission. A typical sales commission in South Florida would be about $200, maybe $250. So they'll say, if you sell this real dog, we'll pay you $1,000. So you come in on a normal car, and then with some smoke and mirrors and a little flim-flam, you drive out on the dog, and the salesman pockets a $1,000 commission. You'd be very careful of that.
That's true. This one's going to make me laugh. Good morning, Earl and Stu. Just FYI, West Park, Florida is a tiny little town that is mostly industrial with a couple of houses and a few dozen trailer parks.
I said, where's West Park?
Yeah. I said I thought it was in Illinois. Anyway, a couple of houses, a few dozen trailer parks. They are located in Broward County, just north of Dade County jurisdiction, east of 441. They were infamous in the 1980s for being totally corrupt and having a helicopter on their police department, even though they had like 6 police officers. Right. Their police department was taken over. This guy really hates West Park.
Chief says, I want a helicopter.
Right. That's right.
Give me one of them helicopters.
There in the air.
Yeah.
All right. That's going back to the 70s. Their police department was taken over by Broward County Sheriff's Department decades ago. The city itself is full of head shops, strip clubs, and warehouses mostly. I would not let my dog...
My kind of town, West Park is...
He says I would not let my dog live in that town.
Well, that's terrible. I mean, are we going to get some bad feedback from West Park?
We're going to have a whole, West Park,
that's
the town council's going to sue us. All
well,
right.
The good news is that you don't know where West Park is, so it shouldn't concern you.
Yeah, the officials in West Park, don't worry.
There could possibly be a coup d'etat, so be very careful.
There was back in a couple of decades when the Broward County took over. So, all right. Okay. Hello, Earl. This is another anonymous feedback comment. Hello, Earl. I'm the Toyota of Hollywood buyer you spoke about last week. Mm-hmm. I just wanted to add 2 things. First is before I even went to the dealership, I made an appointment with the salesman. A few days later, I had an appointment setter, and that was in quotes, from the dealership call me to confirm I was coming into the dealership. I told the appointment setter I was coming in to buy a car if the salesman gave me the very best deal in the area and that I'm aware of all the rebates Toyota, Hyundai, and Honda were offering. I also told him that if I walked out without buying a car, that was because the Toyota salesman didn't give me the very best deal. The appointment setter responded, "Oh, you're going to get the very best deal." Now we have a little laughy face emoji in there. Second thing I wanted to add is that we knew what we wanted, but were able to be a little bit flexible, like with color and availability. We were open to consider anything but red in that loud Toyota blue. I like that blue. Rick's truck is that blue. If I wasn't sure what I wanted, I wouldn't have been so blatant with my intentions to either the salesman or appointment center. And I just think that's, great comments. I mean, you went in there prepared and you let them know what your conditions were.
Yeah, to our listeners who weren't familiar with that particular inquiry, we did Mystery Shop Toyota of Hollywood, the largest Toyota dealership, or second largest in the United States. They're huge. They sell over 1,000 cars a month, and it's just gigantic. They do a lot of very aggressive advertising. And full disclosure, Stu and I are friends with the owner, and Craig Zinn, and extremely successful in that area. We don't like the way they advertise new cars when they really use cars. It's done legally, but it's borderline ethical, and but that's full disclosure. The point I think I'm making now is that even in a large dealership that has a lot of aggressive sales tactics, if you go in there pre-warned, forearmed, and ready to deal, and they know that you're an intelligent consumer, as this gentleman who texted us is, anonymous feedback, and you let them know that you're not going to roll over and let them take advantage of it, you can get a good deal. And I think this guy probably got a good deal.
Yeah. Let's switch over to Facebook real quick on our live Facebook feed. It's on facebook.com/Earl on Cars. You can see what we look like if you tune in. From Steve, he says in the old days, cars were sold with 36-month loans, after which your car is ready to be replaced. How long is the useful life of a typical car today?
Long time.
Longer than that.
I don't think we know. I think that a well cared for, and I'm going to get the expert over here, Rick. I'd say you can keep a car for 10 years and with 500,000 miles if you take care of it. If you buy a 2020 today, that you can drive that until 2030 if you take care of it.
You're a lightweight.
That's the reason I defer to the expert.
I bought my 97 Tacoma pickup brand new. I drove 270,000 miles, 17 years in that truck.
Wow.
I finally decided I wanted a new one because I wanted all the new toys and features. And I sold my truck to a guy. It took me 48 hours to sell it. And he came back to me about a week and a half, 2 weeks later, and he said he felt like he could get in that truck and drive it to Alaska and back without a problem.
Yeah, that's true. And what year truck was that?
That was a 97.
Yeah, see, so even back then they were reliable. Yeah. Today they're even more reliable. Here's a problem on that question. It isn't a question of how long a car will last, because you want a car that's safe. And safe is a relative term. When you bought a new car in 1955, that was a safe car. You probably picked a safe car by 1955 standards. But by 2020 standards, that 1955 was a death trap. So if you buy a 2015 car today, you have an obsolete car in terms of safety. So you buy cars today not because they're going to wear out. They won't. I mean, they'll last longer than you will, maybe. But what will happen is, relatively speaking, they won't be safe. They won't be as comfortable even. There are a lot of things. Cars are improving at warp speed today. So you buy a new car because you can and you want to, because it's a much more pleasurable, and a much safer driving experience.
My vehicle right now is a 6-year-old Tacoma with 110,000 miles.
Yeah.
And I figure I'll probably get something new in about another 120, 130,000 miles on it.
But your truck that you have is not as safe as the new trucks.
Not quite, no.
Yeah.
But I'm one of those that
I know.
I will run it till the wheels fall off.
Nothing wrong with that.
But they'll just keep going. Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
Exactly. Excuse me. 877-960-9960, or you can text us at 772-497-6530. And we have Howard on the line from Jupiter. Good morning, Howard.
Yo, Howard.
Good morning. Happy holidays to all of you.
Thank you.
Hey, Howard.
Thank you.
Okay, here's the story. I was a secret shopper myself.
Ooh.
What happened is that my friend, I'm not going to mention his name, but he had to turn in his lease car. And when he did that, over the phone, they gave him a price of $57,000. It was a 3-year-old Mercedes. So he said, he called me up, and because he knows I'm, interested in cars. He knows I call your show.
Mm-hmm.
He says, "You think that's a good price?" So we looked on the internet, and it was a great price. So we went down. He drove his car. I think it was Bremen, right?
Mm-hmm.
And sitting around, and then he saw the salesman, and I didn't want to be upfront with him, so I was sitting a little bit away from him. So he said, "Okay, I think I want to buy the car at this price that you gave me, $57,000." So then, all of a sudden, I saw that he was starting arguing with the guy, and my friend is a little older. He's 90. I'm pretty close, but anyway, I say he's my older friend. So I saw he was getting agitated. So I went over to the salesman, or whatever he is. He was in the office, one of the officers, I guess. I don't know, lease guy. I said, "What's the problem?" He said, "He wants to charge me $995
Yeah.
more, for dealer fee." So I said to the guy, I said, "You told him on the phone it's $57,000. So then he said to me, "Yeah, but it's a dealer fee, I said, "What do you mean a dealer fee? You gave him a price over the phone." He says, "We charge a dealer fee." I said, "Well, you gave him a price over the phone. Can you make an exception for him?" He says, "If I make an exception for him, I have to make an exception for everybody." I think that's the mantra. Throughout the whole,
Yeah.
It's training
So
right
then
there.
I said to him, "Your legal fee is illegal. Your fee is illegal." He says, "What are you talking about?" I said, "You can't just." So anyway, started negotiating. Started negotiating down from the dealer fee, and then finally, I called my friend aside. I said, "Look, what are you dealing with these guys? This is not an infomercial again." I said, "We went to Toyota. Why don't you lease the car from Toyota?" So he said, "Okay." He left to get the car in, and his wife went to Toyota, and she leased the car for 3 years. And guess which Toyota it was?
Avalon?
I know.
Earl Stewart.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks for the plug, Howard. On this dealer fee thing, it's interesting. I got a call day before yesterday. Nancy was in the car from a lawyer in Chicago, and he's representing a bunch of insurance companies, and the insurance companies are raising hell because the people that they wreck the car and it's a total, and the insurance company says you can replace the car for this much money. And so they find a dealer, and they have the car that the insurance company's replacing, and then the dealer adds a $995 dealer fee, and this particular person is representing insurance companies because they don't want to pay the dealer fee. And he called me because he Googled dealer fees, and I popped up, and he says, "There, you're not telling me, Earl, that all the dealers charge a dealer fee." I said, "I'm telling you, all the dealers charge a dealer fee except for me." And I told this lawyer that. So this is what happens with the lease companies too. You're absolutely right, Howard. The leasing company, probably Mercedes Leasing, contractually obligated to give your friend this car, sell your friend this car for $57,000. A contract option to purchase for the residual value, $57,000, and then they're allowing Bremen to gouge the poor buyer who has the contractual right to buy it for $57,000. Now they want him to pay $58,000, and that is just absolutely terrible.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks very much for
scam, and
sharing that with us.
I don't know why. Florida doesn't pursue this.
Well,
Is it a political thing? Or
it's a class. Yeah, it's a political thing. The Florida Automobile Dealers Association, the National Automobile Dealers Association, all dealers and dealers have got a lot of money, and they have a lot of PACs, political action committees, and they support a lot of candidates. And if you take the treasury of the dealer associations and add it to the dealers themselves, they are powerful. They elect the attorney general, they elect the senators, they elect the representatives, and our legislature. If you don't, it's kind of like NRA. If you buck NRA, you're not going to get reelected. If you buck the car dealers and their associations, you're not going to get reelected. So it's politics, and it's a terrible thing. If there's a lawyer listening out there, this is a perfect class action suit. It should be sued on. The class would be car buyers of Florida, and the car buyers of Florida should do class action on the dealers that are charging dealer fees, and it would be a huge amount of recovery. Can you imagine recovering the hidden fees on every car purchase on behalf of the consumers? It'd be a huge recovery. And that's what you lawyers out there ought to look at. You ought to be drooling on that one. It would be in the, I'm going to say, billions of dollars.
Okay, I got one other hint for a little tidbit that I want to throw in about tires and tire pressure.
Mm-hmm.
You notice that the temperature is going down at night, 10 degrees or more, and it goes up. You lose 1 pound. Rick, see if if this is correct. You lose 1 pound of air at every 10 degree drop. Is that correct, Rick?
Yeah, it's approximately correct. I mean, it'll vary across the nation, different climates and that. But yeah, that's a pretty good thumbnail to go by.
But when the temperature goes up, you don't gain that loss, correct?
Actually, as temperatures go up, pressures will increase a little bit. I mean, it's basic physics.
That's Avogadro's law.
Yeah, but not enough to.
Avogadro.
But you still you're losing air pressure. So my suggestion is, the next month or so, check your air pressure, because it's going to be less than in the warmer weather. And don't put nitrogen in, because that's a joke, right?
Right.
And what I do, but I don't know how long I could do it. I have a little compressor in the back of my car. And this time, of year, when it gets cold, I check my tires, and I check my tires on the dashboard when I'm driving, and then I notice that it drops, and I put a little more air pressure in. Now, how accurate is that gauge on your dashboard? As far as is it as accurate as the tool that you put in to check the tire pressure?
Believe it or not, those things are incredibly accurate, down to 1/10 of a PSI. Very, very good.
And you know what, the new ones will actually tell you, like through the app, and I get really excited about technology things. Will tell you in each tire the exact pressure, pounds per square inch in each tire.
I didn't know that.
Fabulous.
And it will also tell you the temperature.
Yep.
And the one thing not to forget, don't forget the spare. Check your spare tire pressure, because most people never check it.
Yep.
And I guarantee you, 90% of the cars driving around on the road today, their spare tire has maybe about 10 pounds of air in it.
That could be
Okay,
very
Rick, one
dangerous.
other question before I leave you. Some cars don't have a spare. They have a little gizmo that you fill, if you have a flat.
Yeah, the fix-a-flat stuff.
Is that a joke? Does that really work?
For me personally, if I had a car that was set up to use that stuff, I would not use it. I would call a tow truck.
Last resort.
Simply because of the idea that I would prefer to use a small compressor and fill the tire back up and try to get somewhere to get that tire repaired or replaced.
Yeah.
Simply because of one major factor. Anytime that you use a fix-a-flat type chemical, it's going to destroy the tire pressure sensor, and it's going to cost you another couple $100.
No, that's right. I didn't realize that.
Howard, you know what? Back in the day, Fix-A-Flat, I wouldn't be without it. I was a little reluctant then to use it, but like Rick said about the deterioration that takes place, I think I'd explore my other options. But back to you talking about whether your tire is cold or not, and the temperature out there. Boy, I'll tell you what, that PSI, real important all year round. It affects everything. The amount of gas that you eat up, the wear and tear on your tires. So I'm a stickler for that. Back to Rick.
And Rick, you told me that I should put in like 5 more pounds, of air over the recommended tire pressure. You said it doesn't do any harm if you added like 5 more pounds. I believe you get better gas mileage. Is that correct?
Yes, but I also say do not exceed the maximum safe pressure that is listed on the sidewall of the tire.
I've got a question on that. Have you ever seen a tire explode because it had too much air in it?
Only on the internet.
What would happen? What would happen if you have a tire and the higher pressure was 35 pounds, 40 pounds, and you put in 50 pounds? What would happen?
A lot of center wear.
Odds are it would just wear the center of your tire.
Yeah.
But you're taking actually at that point, because you've got a much harder pressure in the tire, you're taking a little bit bigger chance that when you're out on these wonderful South Florida roads and you hit a pothole, it could not only blow the tire, but because it doesn't have that extra sponginess to it,
you might not know why it went off.
wheel.
If you didn't know you had too much air, you just know you had a blowout. That's all you know. Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks, Howard.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks,
really
Howard.
Informative.
Give us a call again. 877-960-9960, or you can text us at 772-497-6530. Don't forget youranonymousfeedback.com. I believe that Stu still has some backed up, and then I have two.
But before that, I have an epiphany.
You have an epiphany.
Yes, I have these things that come to me every now and then, and I just
I'm very aware of these epiphanies.
Here's a new product. It's a compressor. That's what Howard mentioned. The compressor. It's a compressor that we sell. We'll get a Amazon store, and we'll sell this. And this compressor will pump nitrogen into your tires for all the suckers out there that are buying nitrogen from the car dealers. And the fine print on the compressor, it will say 78% nitrogen. And all you have to do is plug it in, and you put it on the tire, and it pumps nitrogen. And it's true. It
Takes
does.
it right out
Guaranteed
of the
78% nitrogen. And we'll charge, I bet we could probably get $59.95 for each one of those compressors.
It's true.
I think you can get more than that.
It takes it right out of the atmosphere and puts it in your tire.
Nitrogen.
Yeah. All right.
Now, why wait? Don't pay your car dealer. Buy it from Acme Compressor Company.
I know a guy in Indiana who could put that company together for us. I really appreciate Howard calling with the comments about the air pressure, because that's going to save us a lot of phone calls tomorrow morning when everybody calls with their tire pressure lights on. So
yes,
exactly. Just give it a little time. Let it heat up a little bit. Okay, anonymous feedback. Good morning, Earl and Stu. I have a question about your dealership and the Costco car buying program. With your prices posted as your lowest price, is the price still lower if someone went through Costco to buy the car? Could a person get a cheaper price going through Costco than if someone walked in and got the lowest price posted on the window sticker? Additionally, if someone bought a car while Toyota was offering big manufacturer rebates, would your dealership then have to offer the same discounted price through the Costco program, even if the manufacturer's rebate was no longer available? Thus, you could buy a Toyota through Costco as cheap as a previously purchased Toyota from your walk-in client who purchased during a manufacturer's rebate period, which is no longer in effect. I would like to fill this one.
Please do.
Because I want to make it quick, because we don't want to advertise our dealership.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, yes, and I say unfortunately because we are a one-price dealership and we want to have to honor that to everybody, but the Costco auto buying program requires us to offer a lower price, so we do follow the rules of the Costco program. So yes, if you're a Costco member, you go to CostcoAuto.com, it'll be a lower price. Regarding the rebates are applied to the Costco price like any other price.
By law, by the Costco contract, yes.
Yeah, but if the rebates are no longer available, nobody gets the rebate, whether you're through Costco or buying through the traditional process.
And just to make a point on the Costco auto buying program, first of all, you have to understand it is not Costco that it's a separate company, separately owned, operated, and managed. Costco has sublets their Costco auto buying program. It bothers me a little bit that they identify so strongly with Costco, but Costco does endorse it and Costco recommends it, but it is not Costco. And the other thing about the Costco auto buying program is it is not administered as strictly as it should be. Now, I'm speaking about the auto buying program that I recommend. So I'm just being critical of a program I recommend because nothing is perfect. The Costco auto buying program requires a dealer to sell you a car at the lower price, not the lowest price, a lower price than you sell that exact car to anybody for. So what Costco auto buying program doesn't understand, or Costco obviously doesn't understand, that is a losing sale for the dealer. If you have to sell a car dealers do not make a whole lot of money just selling new cars. They make their money by adding on accessories and hidden fees and financing. But in terms of the new car department, every time you sell a car by Costco price, in terms of net profit, you're losing money. Now, it's good for you, the buyer, but it also makes it difficult to buy the car, and you have to dot your I's, cross your T's, and be very careful when you go into a dealer who's part of the Costco auto buying program, because he'll do everything in his power to raise the price. But if you stick to the rules, go online, you can get a whopper of a deal.
That is correct. This is the best anonymous email we've ever gotten. I have heard that any new unsold previous year models, i.e. the 2019, will be removed from dealerships and sent to an abandoned airport in the desert. Is there any truth to that? Well, we've heard about that too. We can't confirm or deny this.
You know, I had a little flashback in my many years in this business. As we used to get a lot more cars, Toyotas from Japan, and they come across in the container ships. Is that what they call them? Container ships. Yeah. And we had a situation where there was a hurricane, and all the cars, not all of them, but a lot of them got rattled around in salt water, and it was really a mess. And they had to scrap, just send to the junkyard and smash 1,000 cars, some crazy thing. Rick?
That'd be fun to watch.
Many years ago, when they would send me for training at the actual port in Jacksonville, they let us drive down where the big ship was offloading the cars, and they had a line of cars where a ship in a storm, one car broke loose from its tie-down straps, and they said it tumbled around in the hold so much that it took out like 40 cars, and all these cars were lined up, and they were just smashed to pieces.
Was there a video of that, like a security?
Oh, I wish there was, but it was horrifying to see all these cars lined up. Yeah. But they said it just tumbled and bounced around in that ship.
Why do we like destruction so much? I don't know. Because we're boys. Well, some of us.
Well, I was going to comment on that. I think that I would probably enjoy watching heart surgery or something like that rather than the demolition of all those vehicles.
Well, you do watch.
Stimulating.
You watch surgery videos. I heard about what you do.
By the way, Earl, Carmen Green says, "I'll buy that air pump if it's 98% nitrogen, 21% oxygen, and trace amounts of proprietary gases." We've got Carmen Green on YouTube is already ready to buy that.
That's a deluxe model, and that's $2,000. But I'd go for the one for $29.95 that gives you 78% nitrogen.
I'm glad the physicists are listening. And I do flashback. Rick and I were in an AP physics class together, so we know a little bit about these things.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
I think Nancy's got something.
I do.
Yeah.
I have a text message from Carmela from Pittsburgh. Ah, Carmela, what a beautiful
You
name.
get a lot of texts from Pittsburgh.
Mamma mia. She's a Pittsburgh gal.
Carmela wants to know how she can get the best deal on a car loan. And from my experience, Carmela, I can tell you that you really need to secure multiple lenders and take a look around and take a look at your local bank, some of your credit unions. You really got to do some research to save some money on that. And I'll let Earl take over, and he can add some points.
No, you answered it exactly correctly. Competition is the way to get the lowest interest rate, the lowest car price, the lowest price for a bag of strawberries. I mean, whatever you buy, competition is your friend. And if you go to 2 banks, you'll get a better price than if you go to 1 bank. And if you go to 5 banks, you get a better price if you go to 2 banks.
I have excellent advice to add to that, and that is there is a common misperception out there that if you submit a credit application to multiple dealers, that it's going to hurt your credit score. That is not true. In a reasonable period of time, I think it's just within 30, 60 days, for a similar purchase, you're entitled to go out there and get the best deal. Your score will not be impacted at all. Some salespeople will tell you that it will. As a matter of fact, they'll warn you, now don't go any other dealerships. They run your credit. It's going to kill your credit score. That's not true.
They're either lying on purpose or because they're stupid.
Or misinformed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So within a certain time frame.
Yeah, and I think it's longer than 30 days. I honestly do. I think it's it does not hurt your score. Now, if you start applying for credit cards and Amazon and this and that, the creditors will think that you're about to go insane on a spending spree, and it might hurt your score. But if you're shopping for a car or a house or whatever, you're
it has
fine.
been known to happen that it does mistakenly lower your credit score.
Well, not
but
if
that's few and far between.
No, not if you're shopping for a car. If you're going to a couple of different dealerships or the dealers submitting your application to different banks, it won't hurt your credit score.
They're aware that it's a car you're purchasing.
Oh, sure.
Okay, Carmela, stay in touch. 877-960-9960, or you can text us at 772-497-6530. Don't forget, we have that mystery shopping report coming up from Napleton Palm Beach Acura.
And we got a whole bunch of texts.
It's going to be great.
Mystery shopping report coming up pretty quick.
Yeah, we're about halfway through.
www. Your anonymous feedback. Take advantage of it. Now back to Stu.
Similar question. This comes on youranonymousfeedback.com. Rick, since it's more common now for people to keep cars 10 years or longer,
We did that one, don't we?
Nope. Is it harder to work on those cars when they come in? For example, finding parts, repair manuals, etc.
It can get a little tougher, but the biggest issue we see are like northern cars as they get older, rust and corrosion. There's a lot of mechanics that I talk with online from northern states, and they say the blue wrench is their best friend, and that's that oxyacetylene torch.
Well, the question is, can we get parts for the 10-year-old cars? Is it harder?
Absolutely. It's
not a problem.
10-year-old cars, even up to 20 years, it's still, because cars are lasting so much longer, and the parts manufacturers are out there, they're available. 20 years is not a problem to still find parts for most cars.
Yeah, I have a 1937 Pontiac on the showroom floor of my dealership, and I had that restored. And they restored that car about, 15 years ago?
Yeah.
And 1937, and every part is original Pontiac part.
Yep.
So, of course, we paid a lot more than you would normally have to pay, but parts are available somewhere, somehow. It's just a question of price sometimes.
And, of course, don't forget the idea of junkyards. I know it sounds bad, but there is a company called LKQ, which is like kind quality.
Yeah, they don't call them junkyards anymore, do they?
No, there's salvage yards or recycle centers.
Sure.
And there are a lot of parts from cars that are recycled and reused. And we get them all the time.
Okay, we got a bunch of text here.
Yeah, we do. Earl, a ship filled with cars destined for Australia is infested with stink bugs. Supposedly, the ship is being routed to an alternate destination for biochemical warfare on these bugs. From the bug standpoint, I'm sure they were hoping for a nice cruise to Australia. I wonder if this sudden change in destination and less than stellar treatment will affect TripAdvisor's ratings for cruising to Australia in the bug sector. You are drunk. I don't know who said that.
I had no idea.
Did you see that one?
No, I missed that one.
All right.
Chinch bugs?
Stink bugs.
Stink bugs. Yeah, I think that was a late night anonymous feedback.
I came at 7:30.
He probably doesn't remember he sent it.
It was a long night. It is Saturday morning. It was a long Friday night, 7:33 a.m. Thank you for the interesting text. Next. Okay, all right, we got some criticism here. You guys need to do a better job when you get a caller on the radio show. You always have long, uncomfortable moments. As soon as you thank the person for calling, you should thank them. Then immediately ask them for their questions or comments. Mm-hmm. Not everybody knows how to act when they're on a radio program. Mm-hmm. You're supposed to be the pro. Help your callers.
I think that's constructive criticism.
I do too.
I agree with you. I feel awkward, and we're not professionals. We're car guys and gals, and we don't do radio shows for a living. But maybe we ought to take a lesson from some of the pros.
Yeah.
And what I don't like to do is hang up on people and mute people out. That's a little trick that most of the professional talk radio show hosts do. And it sounds smooth. It sounds better for everybody. But some poor guy is still talking, and you put him on mute, and you're talking, and so we try to.
That's rude.
Maybe we're wrong, but we're trying to be polite to the people, and there's a little satellite delay sometimes, depending on I don't know what.
Where in the world they are.
Yeah, where in the world they are, and so I hear it all the time on the CNBC. I watch CNBC all the time.
There's always a pause.
And when they're talking to China, Hong Kong, it's always embarrassing, and you talk over each other, and. Let's look at it this way. That's real life radio, and it's awkward sometimes.
We're not polished.
And we have to do the best we can.
I always like that when they're interviewing somebody in China, and the question's over, and they keep nodding.
Yeah.
And they're listening. So
those reviews are really very difficult because of that delay, and it happens. That's the way it is. But at any rate, we're going to go to our next female caller, and her name is Tara from Deerfield Beach. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. I would like to know in a accident, at what point would I know if I needed to change a car seat?
Rick, are you tuned in here?
I would actually err on the side of caution on that one. A car seat for a baby, if that vehicle was in any sort of collision that could have been enough impact, if I even thought there might be the least bit of damage to that car seat, I would replace it. Yeah. I mean, we're talking a precious life here, and I wouldn't even take that chance. I would replace a car seat if that vehicle's been in any sort of heavy collision at all.
Tara, what I'd also do, I'd ask my insurance company to cover that, because I don't see how you argue against that. The insurance company say, well, is it broken? Is it cracked? And you can say no, but my child will ride in that, and I don't want to take a chance. If you put an insurance company on the spot, I wouldn't be surprised if they wouldn't cover it.
And I would tell them it's been subjected to extremely heavy stress.
Mm-hmm. Good
and
point.
Leave it go with that.
Good point.
That's precious cargo you're carrying.
Yes, well, thank you very much.
Thanks for calling, Tara.
You're very welcome.
That's a great question.
Give us a call again.
Mm-hmm. Great question.
Yes, of course. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Tara.
Okay, Stu, Rick,
I got him lined up. Jerry texts us and says, last week I bought a 2017 Camry from a Nissan dealer here in Iowa. The car had only 8,036 miles on it. The car was a lease return. I negotiated the whole deal online and went in to test drive the car, and all was well. I paid $17,500 plus tax and license only, no fees or add-ons. The car is fantastic.
Wow.
Thanks for your advice on older videos, on your older videos for buying a car online.
Wow, I love a success story.
Yeah.
That is wonderful. Kansas, we do a little research maybe on dealer fees, hidden fees in Canvas. There's a long time ago we had a list of dealer fees, but I don't think they do that anymore in the 50 states. But it wouldn't surprise me if Kansas was a little bit more honest than a lot of the other states.
No, this is Iowa.
Iowa, well.
Yeah. Either way. Don't say that. We have fans in both states.
Yeah.
Iowa is unique and special in its own way.
Whatever.
Kansas
Iowa
is amazing. I have friends in Kansas, just outside of Kansas City. All right, this is from Andreas. All right, we're getting goofy here. We're drunk. Just kidding. Andreas last week texted us about dredging the bottom of the ocean in search of car dealers' ethics.
I like that.
He sent us and I'll get this to Jonathan. He'll put this on the video later on. So go to YouTube, look for our broadcast today. But he has a picture of a dredging barge off the coast of some beach, ejecting words such as spot delivery, lease switch, bait and switch, 84 months, hidden fees, service plans, nitrogen. And so his comment was, Earl, my team and I have been hard at work searching the ocean for dealer honesty, integrity, and no luck. See for yourself what the depths have spewed forth. So it's great. Thanks, Andrea. Andreas, you know what? You have a future career in graphic design. So, and if you're impressing me, it's good. Okay. Good morning. When buying a used car, is the F&I office still a big profit center for a dealer? Is it likely that I could get a lower price on a used car if I tell them I intend to finance with the dealer and then pay cash after getting the best price? Ooh.
Yes, I mean that is a great tactic. I mean, talking about fighting fire with fire, dealers being dishonest with you, be a little dishonest with the dealer. I think that's what do they call that? Poetic license. You can say, I'm not going to, not going to finance. I am going to finance the car, even though you're going to pay cash. And they can say, well, I changed my mind. Right. But the finance department is an opportunity for $2,000 or $3,000 profit. The car itself might be only $1,000 or $2,000 profit. Make twice as much, oftentimes, in the finance department. So if they think they got a shot at you in the finance department, they're just liable to cut the deal a little thinner, because if they don't sell you the car, they can't get you in the finance department.
It's called making up for it in the box.
I get so many people say to me, Earl, don't I get a better deal if I pay cash? Totally, counterintuitively, no. When you say, I'm going to pay cash, that dealer knows he's only got one chance to make a profit, and he's going to max it out when he sells you the car. Give him the hope that he can take you into the box, into the finance department, and make a couple grand. Then say, whoops, changed my mind. Here's a check.
Yeah, that comes from the misperception that the dealer is actually financing the car for you. Like you're getting it in piecemeal. It's not. The dealer gets paid in full from the bank. You're paying your payments to the you're going to the bank. The other thing to mention here is the texter is referring to a used car. In a new car situation, there are situations where there is a factory rebate that you get for cash, but that goes away and finance. So in that case, it's a different situation.
That's a small percentage of the sales, but it does exist, and the factory incentive on interest rates are legit.
Yes, but you might lose a cash rebate by going for the special.
And oftentimes there's confusion about that. You get one or the other, but you can't have them both.
Yeah, and that was from Travis in Ohio, which is an inferior state to Kansas, just like Iowa.
Wait, have we kept track of this? Listen, Santa Cruz, California, Iowa, Texas. What did I say?
Yeah, Texas. Yeah.
And, I mean, this is we're becoming coast to coast.
Well, I got you. I got you another state here. Season's greetings, Earl and Company. This is Ben from Pennsylvania, and we also had a Pittsburgh texter for Nancy.
Exactly.
So, when I purchased my first Mazda from a local dealership 15 years ago, they mailed service coupons to me, which I subsequently used. I realized after a few years of using them for service and parts that they are on average 20% more expensive than other dealerships in the area when I don't have coupons to use. Are they more expensive because I have been put on their coupon using customer list, the naughty list, or do they just gouge everyone? They probably gouge everyone.
They should have a menu, and if they don't have the menu, you should be able to check. Certainly your fast service, oil change, tire balance, and all that kind of thing should be listed with the prices, and the coupon should come off that price. If they don't have a published price list, you're in trouble.
Yeah, because you have no idea what the discount's coming off of. You have to have a reference point. Rick, you got somebody on YouTube?
I've got a couple of them here that I've answered them online already, but I wanted to bring these out on the air. Raymond is asking about his 2016 Camry. He says, other than the oil change and tire rotations regularly and faithfully, he says, what can he do to make the car last longer? And it actually ties in with our earlier comments there. The best thing is follow the factory recommended maintenance, and this is on any car at all, look for the book or online for the factory recommended maintenance for your car. Follow that religiously, and basically just drive your car in a decent, reasonable manner. Keep your tire pressures up. And the best advice that I can give you on that otherwise is pick one brand or one station for fuel and try to stick with that one particularly, because if something happens that they have a problem with their fuel, because of being a regular customer and showing proof that you buy your fuel there, they're more likely to stand by it and take care of you if they have an issue and fix it for you. Other than that, cars just keep right on going.
Well, I would add this, although maybe that's not what he had in mind. In terms of the resale value of a car, the cosmetics of the car, the looks of the car are very important. And as a car dealer, we trade in cars sometimes that were just mind-boggling beautiful, and you get emotional. And if you have a car and you can keep it in the garage and you wash it regularly, you wax it regularly, and you're careful about the interior, maybe even have seat covers. I mean, I don't know. People can get fanatical about cars, but we've had cars that came in that were so well cared for that we would just get emotional in how much we would allow in terms of trade-in allowance. And you can get a lot more money from a car dealer I recommend this, when you're ready to trade a car or get a bid on a car, get it washed and waxed and detailed. If you have to spend $200 to get it washed and waxed and detailed, that will pay that and a lot more from the dealer's appraisal.
Great information, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
A lot of people don't know that. Okay, guys, we're going to go to Ron in Singer Island. Good morning, Ron.
Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for taking my call.
You're quite welcome.
I just wanted to say something in regards to thank you the show, because I bought a 2013 Toyota Corolla from a used car local guy. And I asked him about the airbag, the Takata airbag. And he said, "Oh, no, that's not a problem on this vehicle." And, but I'll tell you, you guys did a really great job. What I did was I took it over to the dealership, and they said, "Yep." I put in the VIN, or they put in the VIN, and came up saying that, it needs to be replaced, which you did, and I'm very happy about that. But I am going to go back to see this guy just to mention to him that, I guess a lot of the used car people don't want to address this issue possibly, or put it throwing a monkey wrench in the situation in the sale. So anyway, I wanted to thank you, because listening to the show, it really brought this Takata airbag. I know off and on that comes up and is a big issue, and also a very dangerous situation.
Thank you, Ron. That makes us feel good, because we sometimes think people aren't paying attention. Nancy just showed me an article that was in the local paper the other day. U.S. probes 4 automakers and Takata airbag recall. This was just in yesterday's paper. Every day, almost, more is popping up about this Takata airbag recall. And part of my letter to the state legislature and to the Attorney General and the Governor was about this Takata thing. Do something about the Takata. I don't know why used car dealers and new car dealers are not aware. I think sometimes they just haven't had the sense of urgency put in them by their manufacturers and by the media about how dangerous these things are. It would take them a half a day to take that Corolla you bought to a Toyota dealer, and the Toyota dealer would gladly fix it, because the Toyota dealer gets paid by the manufacturer to fix it, and take it back, and now you sell a safe car. But instead, the dealer you bought it from was either uninformed or lazy, and that's not a good excuse when that Takata airbag could explode and kill you. And thank you very much for calling and making that point on the air.
I just wanted to thank you, because in listening to the show, I probably would not have been aware of that. Maybe it would have come up somewhere down the line. You know what I'm saying?
Well, thanks very much for the call, Ron.
Interesting too, which was interesting when he said everything's done, they call you. Okay, great. And I said something to the effect. I said, "Oh, well, you replaced both airbags," and he said, "No, the problem was just on the passenger side."
Mm-hmm.
So I guess for that particular year vehicle, evidently there's either two different types of material or two different companies. One, the Takata on the passenger side, and another manufacturer or on the driver's side. And that wasn't aware of that. I thought they were both the same company.
Well, that's a good question, Ron. And to be honest with you, we are, as a car dealer, we are in the dark a little bit about who the manufacturers are of these airbags. Up until this thing hit the fan about 4 years ago, nobody had ever heard of Takata, and we didn't know what they made, and all the manufacturers were handling all this. So it's a lot of confusion. There's a lot of lack of transparency. We know that Takata airbags have been installed in new cars as recently as 2 years ago. And we know that they knew when they installed those that in 5 years they'd have to recall them. In this case here, with you said this is a 2013 Corolla?
Correct.
Yeah. That's a 7-year-old car, and hopefully the other driver's side airbag is not a defective airbag by Takata. But it seems a little puzzling to me that they would have two different manufacturers' airbags in that 2013 Corolla.
Not necessarily.
Okay,
because I've actually, in order for manufacturers to be fair across the board, we used to have cars that on a V6 engine, you would have one side would be NGK spark plugs and the other side Nip and Denso spark plugs.
Really?
I mean, they will mix up manufacturers in order to say, okay, we're not monopolizing.
But don't you agree that Ron would feel a lot better if he knew that airbag on the driver's side was not a Takata?
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
And I don't think we can look at it and tell, can we?
No. There's no way to know who the manufacturer is.
Yeah, I mean, they're never going to do this, but that should be listed on the at least on the card, like let you know it's on the what are you getting? It's like
at least
ingredients.
today.
Well, it's like it's actually I think that's a great idea.
I mean, it's.
I guess not to interrupt, but should I at some point come in and like a couple years come in and just have them run the VIN and see if there wasn't a recall on the driver's side, or is
I think what I'll try to do, and because of your call, I will try to contact Toyota, and I will ask them why we cannot communicate to the customer to make him feel safe, to know that he does not have a Takata airbag. I would feel, and Rick explained it to me, I didn't know the answer. It seems silly that we would have two different manufacturers of the exact same part in a car, and Rick explained it to me that that's the way they do it. I'm going to contact Toyota, and I will hopefully have an answer for you by next Saturday.
Okay.
Thank you.
The show's great. It's great, and this stuff wouldn't come out unless it was for the show. So
exactly.
Kudos
well, thank you, Ron.
to everybody there.
Appreciate it.
Okay?
Thank you, Ron.
Thanks, Ron.
All right.
Have a great weekend.
Happy holidays.
You too.
Happy holidays. Okay, real quick, I've got a text message from Katie in Sebring, and Rick, you can help me out on this. She asked about the valves on her tires and whether they're just as important to maintain. Before I turn it over to Rick, to my knowledge, they're made of rubber, so they're going to deteriorate over time. So what do you have to say about it, Rick?
Well, it used to be that you had rubber valve stems on all the tires, and we would recommend replacing them when you were replacing the tires. However, now with most cars, almost all of them having tire pressure sensors, some of those are made of rubber. Some of them are actually a solid plastic and metal mount. So it depends on the manufacturer, but I don't think there is a maintenance interval planned on any of those anymore. And because they're so expensive, we generally don't recommend replacing them for that as a maintenance thing.
Oh, Katie, there you go.
Mystery shopping report.
Well, we got 4. We can run through rapid fire on the last 4 texts if you'd like.
Well, why don't we do this? Let's do that right after.
Have we got time?
That would be sure we got time. Mystery shopping report of Napleton's Palm Beach Acura. Nothing like a good old Napleton mystery shop. Over the years, Ed Napleton's dealerships have provided our show the greatest variety of car dealer shenanigans. I love that word, shenanigans.
I did that for you.
Than any other auto group. Late last year, we investigated Napleton's Palm Beach Acura for advertising on 2008 Chrysler 300 with a Takata airbag recall. They got a pass on the Takata test, but they chose to sell the target vehicle at auction for unrelated reasons, we assume, prior to H&X arriving.
The car just wasn't there.
Yeah, no car. Bait and switch, sounds like, but we don't have the proof. The sales experience wasn't too bad. They suggested an alternate car in the same price range. Other than the almost $1,200 in hidden fees, they went pretty easy on the shopper. We put Napleton's Palm Beach Acura on our recommended list. Of course, that's grading on the curve. We can't do an absolute grade because there'd be no place to buy cars from in Florida. This time, we went in to investigate a new car ad. Napleton didn't fare as well as the last time. It was in the spring of 2017, and Agent X was treated to a smorgasbord of old-school car dealer tactics, an addendum, overpriced and unwanted dealer-installed accessories. We talked about nitrogen earlier, large hidden fees, high-pressure tactics. It wasn't pretty. It was absolutely nasty. This week, we found an ad online for a brand new Acura ILX. Yes, Acura is an electric car with an eye-catching low payment. $89 a month. $89 a month for a luxury car.
Can't go wrong.
Man.
Can't resist that.
And I wonder to myself, who believes
I'll take
these?
3.
Who believes? Does it boggle your mind like it does my mind that people actually respond?
I got a Rolex here for $100.
I don't know. People buy. Sucker born every minute. I don't know. Anyway, we'd have a hard time believing that payment, even if the ad was for a Kia Rio. That's about the cheapest car you could buy. To be fair, the ILX is the least expensive Acura, but still an electric car, and the only one with a starting price below $30,000. That is the ILX. Still, to put things in perspective, a new, comfortably priced, comparably priced, 2020 Toyota Camry will lease for about $200 a month. I won't keep you in suspense, of course. The offer wasn't as great as it appeared to be, and you knew that because we're preaching to the choir here. Our audience is a group of educated consumers. And, of course, there was a small matter of the fine print. I like that, small matter.
Thank you very much.
Very good. Stu is a good writer.
Very creative.
The details just ruined everything. $3,599 due at signing, fine print. $3,599 due at signing does not include first payment or acquisition fee. Oh boy. But wait, there's more. Leases plus tax tag, title tag, $89 first payment, $595 acquisition fee, $899 dealer fee. One of the few dealers that really calls the dealer fee a dealer fee. I call it a hidden fee. $199 dock processing, minimum $740 beacon. That's pretty strong. Typically you see $720.
That shrinks the audience a little bit.
It does. Leases allowed 7,500 miles per year. That's right. 7,500 miles. That's the cap on the amount of miles you can put on the lease car per year, and they charge you 25 cents per mile. That's about as high as you see. I've seen higher, but that's high. Dealer not responsible for typographical errors.
Of course.
And of course, you put the stock number in there, which means there's only one car available at that price, and who cares? You don't want to buy it anyway. The out-of-pocket comes to about $5,600. Worse than that, the allowed 7,500 annual miles are half the miles driven by the average motorist. Average gal drives 15,000 miles a year. You only get half of that. And if you were to lease this vehicle and drive it as much as most people do, average, you'd be stuck with another, ready for this, $5,600 in over-mileage penalties. And they don't tell you this. It's in the fine print.
Right.
I mean, I'm telling you, this is, okay. It's bait and switch, and that much is clear. But catching the trick, that only half of it is fun. We sent Agent Thunder there to find out how they deal with a customer who takes the bait. Speaking as if I were Agent Thunder. I walked in the showroom of Napleton's Palm Beach Acura mid-afternoon Friday. That's out on Okeechobee Boulevard.
That's correct.
West of the Turnpike.
Yeah.
It was really nice. It was decorated for the holidays with red and white Acuras arranged on the floor. A man directed me to the receptionist desk, where a cheerful woman asked for my name, phone number, and driver's license. She then told me that a salesperson would be by shortly to help me. I wandered around the cars waiting for the salesperson to find me. Apparently, they were having trouble finding one. I heard an annoyed-sounding manager trying to get somebody on the phone. Just after that, I was approached by a salesman named Jose. We talked about the ad. I acted very excited to have found a new car advertised for such a great payment. $89 a month for an Acura. Woo. I told her my wife's lease was just ending, and we were looking forward to cutting our current payment by over 2/3. Jose began to explain that the car in the ad was just a base model. He said base, kind of like
with a sneer.
You don't want to base you. He went on to say that I'd be better off with a better equipped ILX. Jose reviewed the different packages that were available to me. So that was pretty clever, Jose. Now, we say it was clever, but it wasn't honest. But we've actually had salespeople say, that's just the ad car. Yeah, you can't buy that car for that price. You can't buy the car, lease the car for that payment. That's just what we use to get them in the door. We've actually had salespeople say that, and in a way, I respect that more than what Jose's doing. Jose is going for the subtle, for the professional bait and switch. I told him, I'm okay with a base model. I just want that payment. Jose replied, I'd have to come up with now it comes out, I'd have to come up with $5,000 to get there.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the word get there.
Yeah, it's a car dealer.
That means I'm lying to you. You can't do it for the monthly payment, and you have to get $5,000 that I didn't tell you about to get the $89 payment. But he says, just to get there, $5,000.
Don't go there, Jose.
Yeah. It's always best to put down less, save money. Now he's trying to get on my side.
Yeah.
You don't want to put $5,000 down. Yeah. I mean,
he totally took the focus off the deception of the ad and made it seem like he's advising him.
And Jose's good. He's a pro.
Oh, yeah.
I'll bet he's been there a while, and I bet he's one of their top salespeople. He's a pro. I asked him why they would advertise like this. Jose replied that Acura.
He's blaming the manufacturer.
Acura is just trying to do what everybody else does with catchy payments. I mean, why didn't he just say, Acura is just trying to do what every other car dealer does,
he should,
which is lie, cheat, and steal.
Ed Napleton is doing, just trying to do what everybody else
Acura, although I will say the manufacturers leave a lot to be desired, and their advertising, Acura doesn't do this sort of thing. It went on to say that you give me that payment, but again, I need to come up with a sizable chunk of money. I told him my wife warned me about this possibility. He asked what my current payment was. I said the lease on my Accord is $270 a month. Jose said we'd be able to work with something out and suggested we go look at the car and drive it. Okay. I waited a while for Jose to get the car. Then we went outside, looked it over, took it for a spin up and down Okeechobee Boulevard. Incidentally, there was an addendum. Here we go again. An addendum, Phony Monroney, also known as, for $1,895. $1,895 for a bunch of nonsense. Accessories like nitrofill and unlimited vehicle appraisals.
There's also
that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
They also mentioned the snacks in the waiting room.
Yeah. I mean, unlimited vehicle appraisals. So you will appraise my trade-in 25 times, but will you give me different prices? No, right. But I'll just appraise it.
Here's what I'd like to see. I'd like to see a Napleton Palm Beach Acura, buy a car there, and then go in and get $1,895 worth of snacks over the course of their ownership.
I could do that.
Jose begin.
I could too.
Mr. Thunder, what would you like me to do? I wouldn't advise putting down $5,000 on a lease. It would be wiser to keep that in your pocket. Don't you agree? Now, that's a classic professional.
Yeah.
You start people saying things that they have to answer yes to,
Get 'em
and they have
nodding.
to nod to, and you keep on getting, and pretty soon they're in a yes nodding frenzy, and then you slip it to them,
Yeah.
pop it to them, and they say yes one too many times.
I feel like
and they get taken advantage of.
I feel like I'm at a 80s era Earl Stewart sales meeting.
Get them nodding, and then slip it to them. Okay. We talked about my 3-year-old Honda. He asked if I'd be interested if I could keep my payment close to that lease, under $300.
Well,
Yes.
There's another sales tactic in there is to make them think about and remind them that you're talking about a 3-year-old Honda versus a 2019 Acura.
Good.
And you remind
Subtle.
them, yeah.
Subtle, good. Jose left me to get my deal worked out. He returned with a no-frills lease worksheet with just $1,000 due at signing. My lease payment would be $298.53, including tax, for 36 months. There was no mention of annual miles. Boy, I tell you, $5,000. Bam! And you don't find out about that till you turn your lease car in, and then you have a cardiac arrest. $5,000. And that's what happens every day, folks. It happens every day. The worksheet was confusing, but it appeared that the selling price, which is also the capitalized cost, was $21,822. This included $2,143 in fees. So they put their hidden fees into the capitalized cost. So the selling price had over $2,000 worth of BS fees, hidden fees. There was also $199 listed in a line labeled maintenance, which we believe was not maintenance, would make no sense. But I think this may have been a $199 dock processing. They even mislabeled their dock fees or their hidden fees on the worksheet and called it something that it wasn't. It wasn't maintenance, but they said it was maintenance. Let's see here.
$498.
Only $211.40 was being used.
Oh, no. You missed the $498.
Oh, $498 and aftermarket products. And we don't even know where that came from.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah. I mean, the addendum was $1,800. So what we have here is total confusion, which is exactly what the car dealer wants to do. He understands it. He can read that worksheet. He knows exactly what it says. You can't read it.
I could understand it.
And you're afraid, and here we are, Stu and me and Agent Thunder, we're professionals. Even we could not understand the labels, and the poor consumer has no chance. Also, as much of the $1,000 I have to come up with appeared to be cover fees. Only $211.40 was being used as a true down payment. There was a $1,500 rebate. Okay. Like I said, confusing as hell. I told Jose there was no way I could come home with a $300 car payment after I told my wife we'd be under $100, $89 a month. I told him I believed he was giving me a good deal. I just had to convince my wife of that. I'm telling him that so I can get out of here.
That's the exit
and
strategy.
get home, yeah. So, epilogue. What time we got? Okay, we got time. We tried to get a real price on TrueCar for our new 2019 Acura ILX, but it was impossible to do this. We did see that Naples Palm Beach Acura was the only listed TrueCar dealer for Acura in our area, and that's a shame.
Yeah.
I'm starting to worry about TrueCar.
I hate to do this. I don't know if you still own any stock in the
I
company.
sold all my stock.
I
sold all my stock.
Let me
in
be honest
TrueCar.
with you.
Yeah.
It sucks. It's worthless now.
Yeah, that's
It's
terrible.
And we use them, and we put our prices up there.
Yeah.
But
Why didn't you tell me this a year ago when I wouldn't take such a bath on my TrueCar stock?
I saw that you were suffering from the sunken cost fallacy, and I didn't want to ruin your day.
Well, I'm very sad about TrueCar, even
I'm
though
very sad
I
about
sold
my
my
stock also.
Yeah, that's right.
The whole family.
The ad was classic bait and switch, and Jose had no intention doing the switch part once Thunder was baited. At least in some strange way, Jose was being honest about the realities and what choice did he have. I mean, he just schmoozed it to make it go down easier. However, some things remain unanswered. What were the annual allowable miles? What was that maintenance thing? There is no maintenance. The aftermarket thing, we don't know. We have reached out to the dealer for clarification on these items, but as of now, we've received no response. So that means they don't have an honest answer. And I'm looking at the worksheet here,
It's a
and
mess.
what a joke it is. I've circled some of the suspicious items, and it's just a damn shame.
The best part on the next page
Yeah.
is the addendum picture.
All the addendum, yeah.
Oh, I see it. No, there it is, right there.
Yeah.
I see it on the very top line. First year maintenance, $1.99. So that was maintenance. They packed maintenance into the thing. He didn't ask for it. Isn't that illegal?
I think so, yeah.
Well, it's definitely unethical.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll have to check with our attorney on that. But this is silly. First, this is for $1,865, and this is a phony Monroney. It's right next to the regular Monroney label, and they have the first year maintenance, unlimited multi-point inspections, which means you can come in as many times as you want for our mechanics to try and find something wrong with your car. And of course, that's a real valuable thing, especially when there's nothing wrong with your car. Pre-vacation checkup, that's worth a lot of money. Local shuttle service, that's priceless. Unlimited car washes and vacuum if they have time and you want to wait 4 hours. Service loaner vehicle program, I don't believe that. That's probably warranty. Wheel locks, nitrofill. Now there's a valuable point. I could go on and on. They put a bunch of worthless stuff here.
VIP waiting area.
Yeah. Unlimited Carfax reports, appearance protection package, window tint touch-up paint, door cups, a bunch of nonsense for $1,865. Anyway, that's Napleton Acura, Okeechobee Boulevard in West Palm Beach, and we need to.
We got grades coming in.
Here we go.
It doesn't look good. George gives him an F. Linda gives him a big fat F, and then Judy gives him a BFF, which I interpret to mean a big fat F, just like Linda.
Yeah.
And Ed gives him an F, and I'm following suit. F from me.
Okay, Rick.
I'm going F all the way.
Yeah, got a feeling.
We're waiting to see what YouTube's will say, but wow.
Yeah. Nancy, Black Widow.
Well, I'm going to. I'm on Amazon right now. I'm pricing horsewhips,
Yes.
and I see I can get a real deal
You're going to
here.
send us into a horsewhipping.
And I'm going to go over and see Jose, and we're going to have a talk behind the dealership. I'm going to give them an F. It's repulsive, disgusting. It doesn't leave me speechless. And wow, what a shame. You
Yeah.
can do business the right way,
Yeah.
but they choose the wrong way.
Yeah, I think we have to fail them. And
Rick?
I will say this. Jose and the other salesmen that work there are kind of like held prisoner. If they want to sell cars, they got to do it the Napleton way. And Napleton is fully responsible for his own advertising. The advertising is what's so bad. I mean, the essence of the evil in this is the totally lying, cheating, deceiving advertising. And if you work at Napleton, you got to play the game. And that's what Jose did. He's playing the game. It isn't forgiving him, and he shouldn't do it, but the salespeople, I could sometimes feel sorry for him.
Mark Anderson, F. Mark Ryan, F. Wayne, F. And Carmen, grading on a curve, and that's got to be one heck of a curve. C minus.
Yeah.
Carmen's got an interesting curve there. I think it may be a curlicue curve.
Yeah. I every time we fail somebody, and I think about the vast number of dealers that do as bad or worse, I hope we're being uniform in our grading. We failed them, and I'm feeling a little bit guilty, but
We do our best.
Yeah.
It is subjective. You can't get around
Yeah.
that. So.
One interesting note is on that mileage limit. We recently actually had a car come into the dealership that they were driving for Uber Lyft, and the fellow had gone over his lease by such an amount that he owed $12,000.
Yeah.
And that was on a reasonable mileage lease.
oh my Lord.
So can you imagine if somebody with 7,500 miles took his
Okay.
car and started driving Uber?
Yeah.
Thanks for your input, guys.
Well, the driver bears some responsibility there.
We're going to, first of all, I'd like to thank Sue. Boy, I'll tell you what, week in and week out, creative writing by the experts. Sue
Anne-Marie,
Stewart.
we're going to get your question next week, promise.
Thank you from everyone here at Earl Stewart on Cars, and I want to wish everyone a happy holiday. We'll be right back here next Saturday morning.